Excellencies, honorable guests, dear friends, it is my great pleasure to open today's working sessions alongside with His Excellency, the Assistant Minister of Interior of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and European Commissioner for the Mediterranean. I welcome you all and thank you for your continued support of an initiative that Portugal has been proudly promoting since 2021. I firmly believe that together we are safer and stronger. The motto that we have chosen for this year's meeting. I'm delighted to see so many of us gathered around this shared vision to build a stronger commitment to enhancing security and law enforcement cooperation between our two regions, Europe and North Africa and the Middle East. Yesterday, during the roundtable on rethinking police cooperation in the face of evolving threats, we were engaged in a profound debate on new security challenges and possible responses. Once again, the main conclusion was clear. Cooperation remains essential. The complexities of today's world create new challenges that demand reinforced collaboration. And more than that, they demand innovative forms of cooperation and approaches. This is precisely the main purpose of our ministerial conference, to renew trust among partners, to analyze both emerging and persistent threats, to identify priorities, to work together to rebuild already existing synergies. Our goal today is to provide strategic and political guidance that will allow us to reinforce or adjust existing and new projects, ensuring a more effective and direct response to threats that undermine the peace and security of our societies. Our two regions share a deep relational vocation, historic bonds, common challenges. Both regions face the spillover effects of insecurity and instability stemming from geopolitical tensions, conflicts, fragile zones. This is a struggle without borders, but its consequences are felt locally. Our response must be equally comprehensive, making full use of all available instruments, including interagency and international cooperation. Cooperation is the only credible path to dismantle criminal dynamics. While preventive approaches are essential, political dialogue remains the cornerstone for building strong partnerships that enable sustained law enforcement cooperation and information sharing. I'm truly looking forward to hearing your insights. And just as the symbolic gift I have for you is meant to remind you of your pleasant stay in Portugal. I sincerely hope that today we can reaffirm our friendship and launch a renewed strategic partnership. Thank you very much.
Now, we will invite His Excellency, the Assistant Minister of Interior of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to speak on behalf of His Royal Highness, the Minister of Interior of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Honorary President of the Arab Interior Ministers' Council.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي وزيرة الشؤون الداخلية في الجمهورية البرتغالية ماريا لويسيا أميرال، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بداية يسرني أن أنقل لكم تحيات سيدي صاحب السمو الملكي وزير الداخلية الأمير عبد العزيز بن سعود بن نايف بن عبد العزيز، وتمنياته بنجاح أعمال المؤتمر. كما أتقدم بالشكر لمعالي وزيرة الشؤون الداخلية في الجمهورية البرتغالية السيدة ماريا لويسيا أميرال على الدعوة الكريمة وما لقيناه من حفاوة الاستقبال وكرم الضيافة، وتقدير وزارة الداخلية بالمملكة العربية السعودية للجهود التي تبذلها وزيرة الشؤون الداخلية في الجمهورية البرتغالية في إقامة هذا المؤتمر. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، نتطلع من خلال هذا المؤتمر لتبادل الأفكار والرؤى والتنسيق والتكامل الأمني في سبيل تحقيق أهداف المؤتمر حول إيجاد شراكة استراتيجية وتعاون دولي في مجالات مكافحة الجريمة المنظمة وتطوير قدرات جهات إنفاذ القانون، وكذلك وضع خطة عمل مشتركة يتم من خلالها تبادل المعلومات والخبرات، بالإضافة إلى إيجاد سبل لتعزيز التعاون الإقليمي بين دول الاتحاد الأوروبي ودول الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا. وفي هذا الجانب نؤكد على أن الجريمة بكافة أشكالها وصورها، وخاصة الجرائم العابرة للحدود والهجرة غير الشرعية وتصدير الإرهاب والإيديولوجيات المتطرفة والجرائم السبرانية والمعلوماتية وتجارة المخدرات والاتجار بالبشر وما يطرأ على تلك الجرائم من تطور، مثل صناعة الأسلحة بالطابعات ثلاثية الأبعاد والجرائم التي تستخدم الذكاء الاصطناعي، تفرض تحديات كبيرة، مما يتطلب تعزيز الشراكة والتعاون الدولي للتصدي لتلك التهديدات المشتركة، وتبادل التجارب الدولية والنماذج الناجحة في مجال التدابير الوقائية لمكافحتها. ونشيد هنا بالدور الهام الذي يطلع به هذا المؤتمر والذي يسهم في تعزيز التعاون وبناء الثقة بين الدول، كما نشيد بالتعاون والتنسيق الذي يتم بين الأمانة العامة لمجلس وزراء الداخلية العرب والوكالة الأوروبية لحرس الحدود والسواحل فرونتكس. ختاما، نشكر جمهورية البرتغال على حسن التنظيم والذي أسهم في نجاح المؤتمر، مع صادق أمنياتنا أن ينعم هذا العالم بالاستقرار والأمن والسلام. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We would now like to invite to take the floor Her Excellency the European Commissioner for the Mediterranean on behalf of the President of the European Commission.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. Dear Maria Lúcia, Your Royal Highness, dear Ministers, dear Excellencies, dear colleagues, dear friends. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here this morning at this EU-MENA conference. I'm very grateful to the Portuguese government for organizing it and for the leadership of bringing together the ministers of the European Union and the MENA region countries for the third time since 2021. So thank you so much, Maria Lúcia, for having institutionalized this format. In the current context of geopolitical uncertainties and increased instability in the region, strengthening our security cooperation around the Mediterranean is very much needed. Our well-established bonds can help defend against security threats and provide for a more stable future of our common Mediterranean space. And I am convinced in the right approach to anticipate security developments in the Mediterranean together. Strengthening our security partnerships is one of the main elements of our new Pact for the Mediterranean. The Pact is a common undertaking based on co-ownership and joint responsibility. The third pillar of the Pact covers security, preparedness and migration management. It will support us as we implement the external dimension of the European Union internal security strategy and the Pact for asylum and migration. The third pillar of the Pact includes actions on fighting common security challenges such as all forms of organised crime, disinformation and hybrid warfare, stepping up regional preparedness in the area of firefighting, for example, and a comprehensive approach on migration management, from fighting illegal migration by dismantling criminal smuggling networks to secure borders. Let me give you a few examples of what we are going to do on the security under the Pact for the Mediterranean. We will be launching an EU-Med Peace and Security Initiative to foster dialogue in areas like fighting terrorism and the prevention of radicalism and extremism. We will also strengthen maritime security by tackling shadow fleets and risky navigation practices, including as part of the International Maritime Organization, IMO. We are also going to run security programs with European Union support across the region. They will tackle cybercrime and drugs trafficking and are going to enhance preparedness and resilience. On cybercrime, we are currently working on stepping up the Cybersecurity Act to extend the mandate of our security agency, ENISA. The aim is not only to strengthen the ICT network or infrastructure, but also to ensure the security and safety of the ICT supply chains. Now we need to get to work, and we have to work together. Let us implement the Pact and make sure it will have tangible results for people. Our roadmap is an action plan that we will adopt in the first quarter of next year. And I invite you all to see where your country can get and be engaged and create partnerships with others to deliver joint benefits. Out of all the security policy fields, I would now like to dive into three areas that are particularly relevant for the Mediterranean. First, port security. Second, drug trafficking, and the third, migration overall. On port security, it is a clear priority. We want to ensure security, supply chains, safe maritime traffic and trade flows. The upcoming EU port strategy will be an important framework for our collective internal security. It will be adopted in February. We will establish a security policy dialogue with our Mediterranean partners and step up operational policy and judiciary cooperation, including customs cooperation and capacity building. Improved security in southern Mediterranean ports will make it more difficult for illegal shipments to leave for the European Union. Better transport connectivity with the Mediterranean region will contribute to the European Union's economic security. And we aim to take this step forward on the operational level and involve the EU agencies, member states and partner countries. We also want to continue fighting drug trafficking, a joint challenge for our region. We need to tighten our grip on organised crime and increase situational awareness and risk analysis. We have an excellent collaboration channeled through the European Union Drug Agency, which is headquartered here in Lisbon. The agency is supporting Mediterranean countries to respond effectively to drug trafficking. Further, the multi-billion business of migrant smuggling deserves our close attention. We need to tackle it at the source and along the routes. It is an integral part of the whole route approach to migration management. We already have joint accomplishments to build on. Common EU-North Africa operations have dismantled several major smuggling and trafficking networks, including the seizure of dozens of vessels and the arrest of key facilitators. So we are effectively disrupting the criminal supply chains. Thanks to joint action with the North African partners, illegal sea crossings on the Central Mediterranean route fell by more than one-third in 2024 to 2025. And that is on top of the 40% decrease in the previous year. As a result, we see a marked reduction in casualties and dangerous departures. And this is good news. And I want to express my sincere appreciation to all of you Southern Mediterranean partners for the fruitful and successful cooperation. I want to thank you for your strong partnership. But efforts need to be sustained across all routes, including the Atlantic route, where we cooperate closely with Mauritania. Let me give you examples of practical actions to prevent and respond to reckless smugglers who put people's lives at risk. First, we are implementing the Global Alliance Against Migrant Smuggling launched by the Commission. The next meeting will take place in December this year in Brussels. I count on your support for a joint declaration and the new package of measures. I am working closely with my colleague Commissioner Magnus Brunner and with all of you, Member States and partners across the Mediterranean and the Gulf. Second, the initiative Secure Borders will continue supporting our partners in border management and search and rescue. I had the chance during my visit to Tunisia last month to deliver 2 patrol boats for the Navy with EU support that will help save lives and fight smugglers for the search and rescue. Third, the OPMED initiative on law enforcement will step up our support for police and judicial authorities to gather evidence to investigate and prosecute criminals. And we are not starting from scratch. There is a long-standing experience of collaboration with a solid track record in the field of law enforcement and judicial matters. In North Africa in particular, where the European Union is implementing capacity building together with partners from Member States agencies like Civipol of France and with UNODOC. Dear colleagues, I would like to announce that the European Union is currently developing a multi-annual financial programme of €675 million for North Africa in the area of migration for 2025 to 2027. Many countries like Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Morocco and Algeria are receiving support for capacity building. The aim is to better detect, to better investigate and to prosecute migrant smuggling and trafficking in human beings. I also need to thank Europol for their contribution. We have signed the first working arrangement this year on capacity building in the southern Mediterranean, namely with Egypt. At the same time, support goes into the protection of refugees and vulnerable migrants. We are developing protection capacity and systems in cooperation with UNHCR. As for the voluntary return of migrants, we have procedures in place that are working. Returns and readmissions are a priority and a strong signal to smugglers. Since 2022, migrant protection, return and reintegration programs have enabled 700,000 migrants from North Africa to return home in dignity and rebuild their lives. In addition, thousands of vulnerable persons stranded along the migratory route have received protection, counselling and tailored assistance. They were able to return voluntarily and restore their lives. And my aim and our aim is to step this up. This is a success story we can build together further. Dear ministers, dear colleagues, migration also has the component of legal labour, mobility and skills. Let us be clear. Fighting illegal migration should pave the way for legal, orderly and safe pathways. We have also achieved a lot together in the field of safe and legal mobility, scaling up talent partnerships, strengthening skills and people-to-people ties, and labour mobility. I would also like to mention Erasmus+, where participation continues to grow further. And with the Pact for the Mediterranean, we will expand the education domain with the Mediterranean University. It will connect students from all shores of the Mare Nostrum through shared courses, summer schools, joint degrees and mobility opportunities. And one day we will also have joint campuses. This is a matter of well-managed educational mobility and the mutual benefit of all of us. With the Med University people from across the region, they will learn to speak the same language of cooperation and innovation. And to conclude, dear Maria Lúcia, dear Minister, dear colleagues, more security through strengthened cooperation. This is our common vision for the future of the Mediterranean. I want to thank you once again for your leadership and for your commitment to deliver for our citizens. I am glad that later today, as an outcome of this conference, I know that there won't be a joint declaration, but there will be conclusions which will reinforce our strengthened cooperation in security matters under the Pact. And foreign ministers, I want to mention, they will be meeting in Barcelona next week on the 28th of November to welcome the launch of the Pact for the Mediterranean together on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of Barcelona Declaration. So I said we are marking the 30th anniversary of Barcelona Declaration because I cannot say that we are celebrating, but I hope we will celebrate together at some point in the future if we continue our cooperation. So let us strengthen our collective security at all levels. And thank you once again for organizing this and for listening to my speech. Thank you.